darlings, Know the Art here with another speed coloring. This is of my plant mom / poison ivy inspiration piece. I thought for today's video I could talk about my experience as a part-time artist. I think I've talked about my journey before on this channel, but I thought I could do it with a different angle. I started calling myself a part-time artist back during the pandemic when I decided to really put forth effort of branching out from just making art to selling my artwork. I opened a Redbubble page and another page, I think it's called Imprint, to sell my artwork. I was very shy about wanting to call myself a true artist because at the time I hadn't really made any art that was truly mine. I was just making fan art and draw this in your style pieces, and most of my fan art pieces were getting taken down from Redbubble due to copyright. I know now there is a way to get around it, but it was disheartening because that was all I was drawing. I didn't have any original art, or if I did, it was in my sketchbook and not a full finished piece. I also didn't feel quite confident in my art to feel like I could charge people to buy it. Of course, over time my confidence grew, and now I still don't feel comfortable charging people to buy my art. That little nagging imposter syndrome devil doesn't go away, no matter how hard you try. I also had started a YouTube page at that point, which you can listen to that journey in one of my previous episodes. I wanted to expand and grow, so I opened a Facebook page and the previous website of Twitter. The only reason I started these two pages was so I could post about my YouTube content and my websites. I started a Patreon. I thought if my favorite artist could do it, so could I. I had figured out what to name each tier, what the rewards would be, and then after 4 months, I had no patrons. I worked so hard to get people to come, but it wasn't working. I know the first few months are tough when starting a Patreon, but I wasn't very good at marketing myself. And when I looked at other artists' Patreons, they had wallpapers for phones, desktops, tablets, etc. They had behind the scene work, videos, what brushes they used in their preferred digital program, stickers, pins, prints, and other random goodies. I had no money to invest in any of this, so I decided to shut down my Patreon. I had noticed some people were on Ko-fi, and it looked a lot simpler and easier to manage. For those who don't know, it's like a digital tip jar. You can donate money to your favorite creators. Some creators even have shops, or now they even have membership tiers. So I opened a Ko-fi page. I wanted to sell my art my own way. The link is below if you would like to check it out. I was enjoying it. I could post pieces of art that were just in my sketchbook. I could also just add what I wanted and not worry about it if I had people being patrons or I guess tippers at this point. I eventually opened my own shop on there as well. I've sold quite a bit since opening it 3 years ago. I hope to keep adding and expanding it. Plus, you get to see never before art or unfinished art ideas. I've got wallpapers for phones and coloring pages as well. If there's something you want me to add, just let me know down in the comments. I always enjoy adding new things. I don't always add a lot there, but I am trying to get back into adding as much as I can. I was working hard on making sure I was marketing myself, trying to get a following and creating art 5 times a week. My full-time job at the time was pretty laid back, so I was able to have pieces ready Monday through Friday, and then on the weekend I would make more art. The hardest part was trying to gather a following. I had done everything: artist supports, follow loops, whatever you could think of. My goal was to get to 10K because I had read that once you get there you can start linking things into your stories. Of course, this isn't the case now, but I digress. I am happy that I can finally link things into my Instagram stories. Like most of the artists I followed, they could post in a link of their website or a YouTube video. All I could do was type in the link, so I was on a mission. I started to look up prompts and do monthly art challenges to get the creative juices flowing. I wanted to stand out, but getting a 10K following wasn't going to be easy. Especially at that time, Instagram had started to change its algorithm over and over and over again, and still it has not stayed the same. Eventually, Reels became a thing, so I dived down that rabbit hole of trying to make creative, interesting videos for people to get excited about my art. And it had worked for a while. I actually got over 2,000 followers from one single reel. Of course, eventually, once the algorithm changed, so did Reels, and Reels became irrelevant. So I had to change up my posting schedule to match in adding in Reels, because now I was creating not only images, but videos based upon those images. At this point, I had changed my art schedule to every other day posting a piece. I was cranking out art like crazy. I would always try to make art a month in advance, so that way I could take a break and post. That way I wouldn't have such a big burnout. The social media / marketing eventually got to be too much for me. I couldn't keep it up. I was starting to feel the burnout quickly. I didn't want to be a monkey in a cage dancing to the masses just to stay relevant. Once I started my master's program, the burnout really started to hit. I tried hard to stick with a post every other day, but then it became every 3 days with maybe a reel thrown in. Now it's every 4 days with a couple reels thrown in, but even that has been difficult. I just have no motivation to actually finish a piece. I have been enjoying the brainstorming and sketching process than the actual finishing. I'm worried as the little imposter syndrome devil sits on my shoulder spouting, "It's not going to look good. It won't be better than the last piece I did." I'm worried doing the line art and coloring is going to ruin it. And I don't want to start over since I spent 2 hours on it already and I'm almost finished. This, of course, is why I haven't finished many pieces, but I have started a lot. I'm sure a lot of us are feeling this right now. I think we compare ourselves to how we were during the pandemic, when all we had was time to draw and put in the effort. I like to think, at least for me, that it was my renaissance. I was able to do my full-time job since I was a teacher, but I was also able to work on art, and since I just stayed home and didn't go anywhere, art was my main focus. Since I don't get that time anymore, except maybe during the summer, I feel like this is the root cause for my lack of motivation. Of course, I need to swat away that little imposter syndrome devil, and I need to look on the bright side. My skills have grown. I've grown in my following, and I've enjoyed meeting new art friends and talking with them about art and how to improve. I'm still learning every day, and I enjoy seeing my growth. It has been difficult these past couple of years to keep myself as a part-time artist. I don't really market myself that much anymore, and when I'm on social media, I like to showcase other artists' work in my Instagram stories, or what I've been doing besides making art. I'm sure since my schedule has freed up a little more, I will get back to creating and finishing art. I just have to give myself a little time. My journey as a part-time artist has been a wild one. I still don't consider myself an artist, and that's why I like to put part-time in front of it. I see all these other artists I follow doing their dream of being an artist, and I find it more as a hobby. I have to think having a full-time job for that. I've said this many times, but I am an art teacher during the school year. I like what I do, even if it can be tough at times. I will say having insurance is one of the top reasons I will be keeping my teaching job. I see the struggle with artists who are self-employed have to deal with insurance or other struggles, and I don't want to feel that way. I had enough of that growing up and during my college years. I like to have a little less stress and anxiety, thank you very much. Being an art teacher has also helped with my creative blocks. I get to be creative in a different way, and I get to help my students come out of their art block or art struggles. I really enjoy doing that, and seeing the smile on their face as they show pride in their work is also another top reason I will be keeping my teaching job. In the end, I don't see myself ever becoming a full-time artist. It seems a lot more stressful, and I have pretty good health insurance. I don't think I could be a true small business owner. There is a lot to keep track of. Granted, I know that once you get it down, it's not as bad, but I like where I am right now. I want to make art on my own time and enjoy just doing what I want. This should not deter anyone from becoming a full-time artist if you want. If that is your passion and desire, go for it. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, ring that bell for notifications, along with eat well, sleep well, and stay hydrated. Bye!